Alright, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips that you need to improve at Rainbow Six Siege. The first thing I want to talk about is about toxic teammates. Now, if you have a friend group that you play with all the time and is toxic, should you still continue to play with them even if they're good at the game? The answer I will always give to that is no. Cut them off and find people with a better mentality. It's better not just for your game, but for your mental health as well. When you play with a toxic team, it kind of gets to a point where nothing feels good enough and you kind of start having to chase high kill games just to be kind of approved by them. But when you fuck up, they're always the first ones to say something to you. If you're focusing on improving your game, getting caught up in a toxic stack will hinder that tremendously. You can't think about how to play better if you're just getting berated every time you make a mistake. Think of it this way, if you try and make a play and it fails and you get shit for it, your brain's going to stop coming up with ideas for plays that you can make because you'll just shut down the idea instantly thinking, if I mess it up, then I'm going to get told off for it. So it kind of keeps you locked in a shell. How can you expect to improve if you're not trying out new things and making mistakes in the process? Not just that though, the quote, "you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with," applies in gaming too. If you constantly play with the same toxic people, it's going to rub off on you. I bet you notice when you play with these toxic people that you start getting more mad than usual, or you tilt with them and start shit talking people in the stack or shit talking random people in the game. It's a bad mental hole to get stuck in, so try to avoid it at all costs. If you're a solo queue player, the main tip that I would give you is the second somebody starts saying something remotely toxic in the mic, just mute them. It's not worth it. You might miss out on callouts, but if hearing callouts means that you're going to fuck up your mental and lose even more games after that, then so be it. The other option as well is to try and kill them with kindness. If someone be's toxic in a game, just try and be nice to them, like, yo, what's up? You okay, bro? Is everything alright? Just try and be nice to them, don't be mean to them, because they're going to just continue to be toxic if you do. But if you're nice to them, they might change their ways a little bit, and they might have like they might be nice for a game. But for the most part, I would say just mute them. The next thing I want to talk about is stealing people's settings. Now, a lot of people will take a pro player's settings and think it's going to make them better at the game. I used to fall victim to this a lot. I got really big into a rabbit hole of looking at people's sensitivities and trying them out. It got so bad that I used to go through ESL, which was the old tournament hosting website that's had Siege tournaments on it, and I'd look through people's anti-cheat files just because there was a file for settings and like you could see the sensitivities and like in-game settings and stuff. At one point I could probably tell you every one of the top pro sensitivities that like what they were using. And do you want to know what I found from that? All of them were different. That's because there's not a perfect sensitivity. If there was a perfect sensitivity, everybody would be using the same shit. Sensitivity is personal to you. You need to find your own perfect sensitivity. I always say to people, there isn't one perfect sensitivity, but there is a perfect sensitivity for you. So I would always suggest that you find your perfect sensitivity, not one that pros use and that you can remotely do okay with, because you'll always kind of do better if you use your own sensitivity. If you want to find your perfect sensitivity, then I've done videos on that in the past and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to watch that and try and figure out what yours is. The third thing I want to talk about is excuses. A lot of people make excuses like bad teammates or enemy luck for the losses. Doing this has several downsides on your game. The first one being your mental goes in the bin and you will mentally check out of the game. It's going to make you stop thinking about ways to win or to counter enemy players. Instead, you're just going to be thinking about what excuse you can say in the next round. Another thing being is that it's going to negatively frame every game you go in the future. If you go into a game with the mindset of my teammates suck because they have in previous games, it's already going to put you in a negative headspace before the game has even started. Not only that though, if you start telling your teammates that they suck, then it's going to have a negative impact on their game too. So not just like they could have had one bad round, but then you would have still won the game. But if you start saying to them, what the fuck are you doing, blah 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 blah, then they're going to mentally check out as well, and you're probably going to lose that game. They might even start actively throwing. And just like in the first tip, you will become that toxic teammate that people don't want to play with. The most important thing about why excuses are hindering your performance and your improvement is if you blame something for your death, you lose all accountability and you don't learn anything from that death. Instead of throwing blame at other people or at the game, instead blame yourself and figure out what happened and why it went wrong. Go into a match replay a little bit after the game when you have a clear head, and you will realise either like you made too much sound, you missed your shots, you straight up were in the wrong position. So before you start blaming your teammates, first think, if you died in this round, you made a mistake. Because if you die at any point in the round, you've made a mistake somewhere. So go back, watch the replay, go back, take a clip of it, and figure out what you did wrong, figure out why you sort of went wrong. Were you pushing the wrong place? Were you pushing at the wrong timing? There's always a way that you can stay accountable and responsible for your mistakes rather than just pushing it off and brushing it away like it's nothing. The next thing I want to talk about is assumptions. Now, a lot of people will get tilted for things that they feel like should have happened within a round. For example, why didn't you open this wall? Why didn't you claim all this? Getting mad at teammates for something that you expect them to do is a useless mentality to have. No one can read your mind. No one can understand exactly what you want from them. If you don't tell them what to do, how can you expect someone to just jump into your brain and be like, oh, so he wants this wall opened at exactly this pixel height, then he wants us to take 3 steps this way. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Tell people what you need from them, especially in a solo queue environment. Things that are default for you might not be default for somebody else. Don't expect people to be robots and know exactly what you want them to do. Instead, just tell them like, yo, I want to go for this kind of push. I need you to do this for me. And they're likely going to follow you and do it. The final thing I want to talk about is mechanics. Now, mechanics in Siege are good to have, however, it's not the end all. A lot of people will have excuses for themselves or be like, I can't hit champion because my mechanics suck, my aim's shit, I can't hit champ. But that's not even true, especially in rank 2.0, there's no excuse not to be champion. You could have the mechanics of a brick, I mean shit, half of my solo queue teammates do. But that just means you need to work on your game sense and your brain side of things. Work on your brain before you aim always in Siege. Why would you need to have bow low level aim if you can hold vert on a window? Why would you need to have spike level mechanics if you can place a C4 with a Valcam on it? You don't. Stop blaming your aim for the reason why you suck. Instead, actively work on other things you can do to mitigate the fact of like aim being a reason why you can't rank up. Any day of the week, I would rather have 4 bricks with a good game sense over aim clones that have game sense like my nan. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.